Hi, I'm Kevin.
I'm Patrick.
And welcome to This Week in Our Collective Heads, where we're going to talk about some of our favorite relationships, romantic relationships in video games. So,
obviously, God of War and the two ladies in the very beginning of that one was the top. And it was just the best depiction of love and
romance and a thoughtful relationship where you take care of your ladies.
Exactly. Kind of like Mario and Peach, right?
No.
That's another bad one.
I ship Bowser and Peach.
Oh yeah,
I love that relationship. It's weird. It's convoluted, but I think he cares about her.
He does care about her. It's a strange codependent relationship. Interestingly enough, a codependent relationship where the guy cannot deal with not being around her. Mm-hmm. So, in his own way, in his own stalkery way, it's a sweet relationship. Meanwhile, Mario just expects that he gets stuff because he did stuff. Mario is obviously this is one of the goes down to the whole tropes of women in gaming thing, which I agree with some of. But I agree. Mario goes in and he's like, "Hey, I did all this stuff for you. You should give me a kiss now."
He gets a kiss. Bowser gets babies.
Yes. You see what happens. So if you don't expect it and you just show her how much you care about her, then you actually get something out of it.
I also think
maybe
I also like that relationship because it's there's a lot that's unstated.
Yeah.
Because I think that Peach is absolutely down with and knows when these are coming because. Yeah, for various reasons, but that's a fun relationship. Yeah. But that's mostly in the realm of fanfic, and don't look up images; those are scary.
Maybe look up images.
But thinking of other relationships, I feel like Final Fantasy is one of the ones that pretty consistently, like they don't always, because like Final Fantasy VI, Final Fantasy IV, they didn't really have like two main. This is the love story, but. When they do have a love story, I feel that they do it really well.
Yeah.
And that the characters actually mature throughout the course of the game. Mm-hmm. So my favorite as far as those go is Squall and Rinoa from Final Fantasy VIII.
Yeah.
Because he starts off, he's like standoffish and like he has a lot of, because you get to see most of that game with kind of his internal monologue. And he's really frustrated with people and people's lack of professionalism. Renault's in particular, right at the very beginning, he's like, "Oh, you're kneeling down on the floor to make this is. I'm sorry, you have a crappy rebellion.
Yeah,
let me fix this for you." And she's willing to deal with kind of his eccentricities, and because of that, he's willing to trust her with more of what's going on inside his head. And I really like that relationship.
Yeah, I do too.
What about you?
Well, when it comes to Final Fantasy, obviously I lean towards 7, but 7 is an interesting one because you don't have... It's more fanfic and it's more of what we wanted the characters to be doing and what we thought they were thinking about, because you don't get Cloud Aeris ship, obviously. Spoilers. You don't really get a Cloud Tifa one either.
Yeah.
That's more than likely what it was headed towards, but you don't really get a defined bit of that. But at the same time, I like that because it does show kind of how it's not as clear cut. You don't always have one person that you're in love with your entire life, and that's the only person that you're with.
What about the little person on top of the big one? The combo.
Kate Sith?
Yeah.
Kate Sith.
Were they in a relationship? Are they even separate people?
No. So that's a robot.
Oh, okay.
That is a. You're talking about the one, the Moogle, right? The cat in the Moogle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So spoilers. You care?
No.
Okay. So.
Way past that point.
So what you think that is actually is a cat that's on top of a Moogle and this kind of thing, but what's actually happening is that is a robot that's being controlled by someone within Shinra, and that's been infiltrated you the entire freaking time.
That's crazy. I did not know that.
Yes. Yeah. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
That's fun.
Yeah. It's pretty interesting. When I think of relationships, there's a few that I think do it well. I think Mass Effect has a really I've mentioned it before, but the fact that you get, obviously Dragon Age has this as well, but when you get to choose and kind of make your own idea of what's going to happen, those games are supposed to be that way. Other games, obviously, there's too much built in, like you mentioned Final Fantasy VIII. There's too much built into those characters. That is
the story.
That is the story.
Yeah.
As opposed to Mass Effect or Dragon Age, where you have, this is the story, and while you're doing that, what relationship do you think should happen while you're doing that? Mass Effect does it in a really, really great way, and I think is probably one of my favorites. Fallout 4 does a great job of this as well, but you can romance
that's my problem with it.
It's like you can romance everybody.
Yep.
I mean, as long as you're okay with their faction, you can romance them. So you can romance everybody, and they can all be hanging out in the exact same settlement.
And it's never brought up.
And no one gets mad at any of that.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
That's why I can't I can't bring anybody else along, because she is in fact in love with Piper.
Yeah. Yeah.
So which is why I can't travel with Piper, because she's terrified of losing her.
See, that's a good point.
So, spoilers for the future cast, which I'm about halfway through with my notes on that, and I'm charging through the story now. Yeah. So hopefully soon I'll be able to have that.
See, my character has Piper around her all the time because she's lost her husband, and the first person that, and possibly the only person that she's really connected to on a personal level, my character in Fallout, has been Piper, and there have been other characters that she's befriended and everything, but I feel like she doesn't want to let Piper out of her sight. So Piper is with me almost all of the time, which I can't talk about because you're not there.
Yes.
But Piper is with Clara almost all the time. And they're inseparable in their power armor.
Another thing that's I hadn't really thought about this before we started recording, but something that comes up a lot more often than actual relationships is characters who have dealt with loss. Like in the very first scene of Shadow of Mordor, your character loses his wife and son, and that's something that I feel crops up a lot more often.
The Witcher,
and they're kind of motivated by their love for this character and what has been taken from them.
God of War again,
and it's an easy trope to fall back on, but I feel that having that in there does actually help me invest more in the character when I feel that there's somebody that they care about.
Yeah.
If you don't care about anything, I can't really connect to you. I care about a lot of things.
Yeah.
But having that as a thing that has happened to the character, because just bringing them in as this is a thing that happened in their past, and where they're going to take it from there. And then we were talking about Red Dead Redemption earlier in this show, and that's a really I like the way that relationship is portrayed.
Yeah.
And so I'm not going to spoil anything for it, but
I was going to say there's I don't want to spoil it either, but like there's another character in there that I don't know if that's what you're talking about. Are you talking about the rancher? Or are you talking about the wife?
I'm talking about the wife.
Okay, because I was actually like going,
Okay, yeah.
They kind of work.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, it might not be so bad. Yeah, It's really sad, but you can make a life out of here.
Yeah.
Get that one. I think that because it's because she was such a strong woman, and the two of them worked really well together. Similarly to, no, I'm not going to do that because that'll spoil Downton Abbey. So never mind.
All right. No spoilers for Downton Abbey on our podcast,
because I'm sure that some of you guys.
Yeah.
Do anyone here watch Downton Abbey? We're talking about relationships. So.
I plan to maybe at some point. I do feel like it's something that I want to watch with Courtney.
Because
there's going to be people people who either aren't going to watch it,
Yeah.
people who have watched it, and I need somebody to watch this thing, go through this journey with me.
I've watched it. I watched it all now. It's very subtle. This goes into Valentine's Day, but it's very subtle in regards to the character relationships. And the thing that I can appreciate about it is the authenticity of that time. They actually have someone whose full-time job on the set is to make sure that that people are gesturing the right way, that things are set up on the right table the right way. You have some really interesting things on that. But yeah, I'd say that for the most part, gaming is getting a lot better about relationships and a lot better about this kind of subject matter, and doing it in a mature way and a realistic way. Yeah. And I think we can look forward to that as a in the future of gaming. Yeah.
But on the opposite end of the spectrum, you have relationships like Zelda and Link. That is a very easily, narrowly defined relationship, and there's very few instances where it expands beyond the idea of she's in trouble, go rescue her.
Yeah,
and
it's very one note, which I think is the reason we're talking about relationships. For Ocarina of Time, I didn't ship Zelda and Link in that. So,
she's a kid.
He's a kid too.
Yeah, but I don't ship anybody with anybody below age 13.
So when you were a kid and you saw another a kid,
that's like present tense.
That's what I'm saying.
Past tense.
When I was a kid and I was playing a kid game or watching a kid movie, you get crushes on kids because they're your age at the time. That doesn't mean that you then watch them now and enjoy it in that fashion. Okay, I'm not saying that certain people watch Interview with a Vampire and see that's Waterworld, right? That's weird. But I'm saying when you're a kid. So, anyways, weird segue. But no, I didn't ship the two of them as a relationship because there wasn't anything really there.
Yeah,
I mean,
they were working together toward a goal.
Yeah, but
it wasn't a romantic thing.
No, it wasn't a romantic thing, and he didn't even know that she was working with him.
Yeah.
So, he just thought, oh, I'm saving Hyrule, and I'm probably saving her too. And he didn't realize that he wasn't saving her,
right?
Because spoilers. But I actually like Malon. That was I thought that made perfect sense. That after all this is over, that he had something with her.
That sounds fun.
Well, because the whole Saria thing, it's like, okay, well, he's human and she's not, and he's gonna grow old and die. It's the whole elves and humans thing, right? And the whole Lord of the Rings. She's gonna live as a child forever, and that's a child appearance. That's also a child mentality, as opposed to the Interview with the Vampire thing I mentioned by Kirsten Dunst, where she grew as a mentally maturity. She was an adult trapped inside a child's body. So as opposed to Saria, who's a child, always a child.
Yeah.
So it makes sense.
Brief segue into Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
So you're with me on the Aragorn Eowyn train?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So those are some of our thoughts on relationships and gaming and how that works. So. Yeah.
Let us know in the comments if there were certain relationships that we obviously this is something we just kind of were throwing together, but tell us some of your favorite relationships in games or things that you'd like to see as choices.
And also, going back to what we were talking about with Fallout, characters' relationships that you've imagined. Maybe it wasn't explicitly stated in the game, but the game is only a basis.
Yeah.
And I really like games that allow us to expand past that and give us a world in which to explore, create our own story.
What we only could do in fan fiction before, we can actually do in games now.
Okay, so EverQuest. Back in the day.
Yeah.
Sorry, it sounded like we were ending, but we're not. Okay, so back in the day, I had a mute barbarian rogue that I played. And Mute.
Okay.
He only spoke twice.
Okay.
One of them was, "Hey, Baldir, welcome to Guild Chat," because that was an accident, and then there was another one that was similar to that. But that was all he said.
Did you not chat with anyone ever?
No. He never said anything in or out of character. When I was playing that character, I could only speak out of character.
Did EverQuest have Guild Chat though?
Yes,
they did. Okay, because I consider guild chat a fourth wall breaking aspect of the game.
Okay. Yeah, he didn't even talk in that.
Okay.
The entire time. It was a really fun character that I came up with at one point. And what we used to have meetings in this super secret place. There's a weird spot where you could go under the water, swim a little bit, and there was a pocket where underwater wasn't underwater.
Okay.
And so we
had meetings.
Yeah, we had meetings there. It was really fun.
Okay.
So I was going there, before fast travel and everything. You had to go to a portal and then go down and then go east one zone, south one zone, and then to the bottom corner of that zone. And so I was on my way there, and me and this little halfling cleric, we're just sitting there. We've got 10 minutes to kill until the portal goes off and takes us wherever.
Where you're not saying anything.
Where I'm just sitting there, and somebody comes, and I look up and wave, and she just starts... because that was her character, was super chatty. And
this is all a role-playing server, though? Cool.
Well, no, it wasn't a role-playing server, even. We were just role-players who happened to run into each other.
But she was a role-player as well?
Yes, okay, very much so.
Just making sure.
And her character was super chatty, and she would do it, and I would nod or shake my head or look curiously or whatever, and so all of mine was done in emotes. And we got there, and because... the meeting wasn't until tomorrow, but we happened to be going there at the same time, and then we were gonna, slash sit, slash camp, slash exit, whatever.
Sure.
And so, we set out our roll, rolled out our beds, and did all this stuff, and then later on we took it from there to the forums, and they ended up, they were together for like a year and a half. And her real life husband was also in the game, and so maybe a couple of weeks into this relationship between these two characters, I sent him a message on my main, and I was like, "Hey, so I'm not hitting on your wife, but I really like the dynamic of these two characters together. So I just want you to know that if at any point you're uncomfortable with anything I'm doing, I'll break it off. I'll retire the character, whatever."
Yeah.
And that was the point I was at, because if he can't have this relationship, this character retires.
Wow.
Because that was so much fun. And there's archives. I'll see if I can find those and actually put up a link to them in the comments thing. Actually, I have to screenshot the whole thing because that's locked down.
Yeah.
It's a forum that was user based only. But we had a bunch of relationship stuff and stories and whatever in there, and we created. In that world, we had these two characters diametrically opposed. The halfling and the barbarian, and the mute and the super chatty, and it was that was awesome. And I am more proud of that than any other story I've come up with in any other medium.
Yeah, I didn't get to do that as much in MMOs, because when I did a role playing server or anything, it just never happened.
Yeah. Well, we had a role playing guild with about 50 some odd members at that point, so there was a lot of interaction available to characters.
Yeah, well, I think my problem was that I had too many people who didn't understand, in World of Warcraft, and I was in a role playing server and everything, and you had these people who it was hard to talk to them, because their idea of role-playing is, I understand the lore of all of this, and I'm going to speak as if I'm in this time period, and even though it's not really a time period, and it's I couldn't keep up. I could not keep up. I guess my character could have been, I could have made a character who purposely didn't care about the world and all of that, but it was just really hard for me to keep up.
Are not educated.
Well, and they're like, oh, well, it's this king and this person, and yeah, it's pretty bad. What am I going to say about this? So it never happened in that, because the only relationships that I had in regards to online kind of relationship things were completely broke the fourth wall. So it wasn't role-playing wise. But there were ones in other games that I kind of, like in Knights of the Old Republic or other games where something wasn't 100% defined, that I kind of, wish that they could have had more on there. So... I think I'm really glad we're getting this in regards to gaming, though, and I guess I missed out on the role playing part on MMOs.
It was a very narrow window.
Yeah, it really was.
And very select situation. I'm grateful that I got to have that experience. Yeah. Shout out to Keats, who started that guild and kept it running for Ever. Forever.
So let us know. Did you get an online relationship like that? Or did you not?
Hey,
you can tell us.
I have an online relationship, and we have kids.
You do.
Met her online.
It came offline. One of my coworkers met in World of Warcraft. They played World of Warcraft and met, and they got married.
3 marriages came out of that guild.
There you go. See?
Yeah.
It can work. Cool.
So let us know your favorite relationships in games, in your head.
Yeah.
Tell us how happy you are. Happy Friends Day.
Later.